Who's Here we go. So I called to order the North College Park Community Association. This is a hybrid meeting on June 9th, 2022, starting at approximately, I don't know what time it is, 7:38. Okay, tonight we don't have a secretary. So we'll be recording this. And I think John Kraus, and some of you may know John Kraus, he has been an officer in our association many, many times. And he's held different positions. He is going to graciously do the minutes until we find a secretary. Okay, so, but he can't be here tonight because he has to be at their districting meeting. So here we go. So tonight, we're going to do things a little bit differently. If you've been on our meetings before, I know we have a lot of new people here tonight. Generally, I just, it's been a smaller group, so people have been able to talk fairly easily. But tonight, I asked you to raise your hand. And particularly because we have the RST developers who will introduce themselves in just a little bit. I hate to keep saying developers, but I'll let you introduce yourself in a few minutes. Okay. So, and then the other thing that we're going to do tonight, which is a little bit different, is we have the American flag here, and it's always been our custom to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody would stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, now let's start with officers' reports. Ellen is our vice president for people who don't know. Ellen, did you have anything you wanted to say tonight?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. We don't have a secretary, so that lead goes to you then, Carol. Carol is our treasurer, and she's going to give us her report. And
Okay. We have in our savings account, we have $332.50. The usual small amount, 6 cents of interest. We only get interest on our savings account.
wait a minute, Carol, what did you say was the amount?
$332.50.
That's all we have?
In our savings account. You got to give me a chance.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, in our checking account, which is where we do most of all our business, we have $2,930.64.
Wow, we're in the money.
To give some people a perspective, we've gotten the $2,000 from the city. The people were calling it a grant. I'm not sure it's a grant, but it's what they put in the budget to help us with our welcoming wagon. That's probably why our dollar figure sounds so good.
Yeah.
Let's see, we have memberships. Through the website, we got $175.39. When we talk about the website later, I'll give a little bit more detail on that. But we also got through checks and cash, $70. And at the last meeting, when I presented the website situation, and we got a motion to go with a paid website, and the rest is history, I stated that I would be willing to pay for the first full year of the website being paid, which I did, and that's $35.40. It's a donation from my part, because I wanted to live up to my comments and my commitment from last month. And I couldn't remember, I didn't have the time to check to see if I reported the expenses for the flyers that Mary generated for the Maryland Park and Planning meeting on the community center. The cost for the flyers was $60.95. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Carol. That was great. Okay, so I'm the last officer, obviously, to report. So I've got a few things this time. I was in communication with Parks and Planning today about the next community center meeting. It will be at the end of the summer, at which time we will talk about the sites, the program, what they call the program. Basically, you know, what is it that we want to see in the community center? If any of you attended the meeting, the last community center meeting, then you'll know that we were talking about possibly a gym, or we were talking about an area for, you know, multi-purpose room, a kitchen, whatever. So that will be at the end of the summer, and everybody, I hope, will get notification. Last time we did that, we walked some flyers around, and hopefully some of you will still be around by then, and you'll want to help us out there. I also talked with Terry Shum, who is our city planner, regarding the Hollywood streetscape. We're still on schedule, it seems, until it's supposed to be completed by the fall. Now, she did say that they were having some trouble getting some materials. But she thought we'd still get it done by the fall. And we're really looking forward to that, because this is a project that we've been working on for, God, I don't know how many years, 8 years, 10 years. So, man, we'll have to break open some champagne or something when that gets done. Let's see. Oh, there are some COVID tests there. If anybody wants to take any, we do have more. I have them at my house. If anybody wants some, or you know a neighbor that wants some, please just let us know. We can drop them off. You can pick them up, whatever you'd like to do. I reached out to the 21st delegation, because generally they like to come and do a report after they've gotten out of session in March. Unfortunately, I was not able to reach anybody to set up a meeting. What? April. Yeah, I thought it was April this year. And then finally, we will be doing a thank you letter to Delegate Ben Barnes, because many of you probably don't know it, but before COVID, a few years before COVID, when the delegation came and spoke to us in the springtime, as they always do, we asked them how they were going to help us with the community center. And Ben Barnes, who is on the appropriations committee, said, I'll get you $1 million. And so guess what? How much did he get us? $1 million. So we have to, you know, kudos to him. And, you know, we have to send a big thank you to him. And hopefully, you know, when the 21st does come, that he'll come as well. So I guess that's the end of my report. I usually don't talk that much, but I guess I just had a lot to say. Carissa, I'm going to ask you to talk about neighbors helping neighbors now.
Okay, can I do that from where I'm sitting?
Can people hear her?
Yes.
Yeah, but people here at home. Can you hear her at home?
Maybe I can use my.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you mute something?
Okay. Okay. Can people hear me now? Now there's a weird echo here.
Yeah, we hear the
Yeah.
echo too.
Okay. Okay, so
I'm just taking my computer down there.
do you want me to come up there?
Oh, I'm right here, Carissa. So you can go ahead.
Okay.
You can speak right into
Okay.
that.
Okay. So hi, I'm Carissa Janis. Thank you for letting me make a very brief presentation. I am the Director of Outreach for Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park. Aurelis Perez, who's here, she is the treasurer. Both of us are on the board. This is an organization. This is a community-based grassroots organization that started in College Park a few years ago and got a bit waylaid due to COVID. And now we are reconstituting ourselves and getting ready to start full operation very soon. Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park is a senior village organization. And this is part of a village movement that's nationwide, where communities engage neighbors to be volunteers, to assist seniors and people with disabilities in their community, to enable the seniors and people with disabilities to live as independently as possible in their homes for as long as possible, as opposed to, say, going to an assisted living facility or a nursing home. So we are always in need of volunteers to provide services to those elderly and disabled people who may make requests. And then, of course, we also want to provide a service to individuals who may need it. The major types of services that we can provide, that our volunteers can provide, are transportation, which is basically rides within within the college park or nearby. Household and yard chores, small household repairs, friendly visits, and phone check-ins. If you are interested in being a volunteer, I apologize, I didn't come with like everything, but I don't know if you could put it in the chat. Our website is NHN.
Is Sewell, you do that?
Our website is nhn-cp.org. There's a form you can fill out on the website if you'd like to be a volunteer. If you do, I will be in touch with you soon. If you or your neighbor or a friend would like to request a service, there's both an email and a phone number also on the website that you could go to request a service. I don't know if you can, I don't know whether to show up on the computer. We have some pamphlets here at Davis Hall, and you may be able to find them elsewhere in the city on the whatever you've
On the
got.
website.
Yeah. Oh, wow, we have a
Yeah, I
big,
got you some more.
we have a big stack.
And
Okay.
Councilmember Kabir can
Let
hand
me
them out.
distribute.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Okay, and the other thing is also Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park will start sponsoring a summer seniors coffee social in conjunction with Proteus Bikes on Thursday mornings from 9:30 to 10:30 this summer. So and they are extremely generous in providing us a 15% discount during that hour. And this is to enable seniors to get together and meet each other and hang out and have fun. So that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Carissa. That was very good. We are handing out some brochures here, but if you would like to, you can always check the city website, or do you have a separate website, Aurelis?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Chat is disabled. I could not close it.
Okay. My issue about the chat is I don't want everybody chatting today. So Fazul, if you want to chat, let me see if I can open it.
You disable the chat?
Yes, I did.
Mary, while you're checking that out, I just had an experience with the Neighbors Helping Neighbors earlier this week. Although financially I have the money, I have things that I cannot physically do around my house. And I called, left a message, and within an hour, maybe two, the person called back. I was very impressed because it came back so fast. And the person was extremely friendly, extremely helpful. I explained to her that I was looking to try to find somebody local to help me out with some yard work, as opposed to going with a professional company. And she said that they do everything without any charge. And I said, that's fine. I'll just make a donation to the Neighbors Helping Neighbors to handle it. So I did want to at least say that I was very impressed with my experience just this past earlier this week with the Neighbors Helping Neighbors.
Oh, thank you for that, Carol. Yeah, I'm glad that you had such a positive experience. For those who don't know, Neighbors Helping Neighbors has been in a long time coming. And I'm glad that it is up and running now, and I'm sure it's going to be very successful with these people at the helm. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the RST development presentation. Now, this has been done a little bit differently than I thought was going to be done, but I think this is going to come off really well. People here in this room are going to have a screen. You're going to be able to look up here, or I guess over there, and then you're going to do it. Are you okay now? Okay.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay.
I'll share my screen
Okay.
for those on Zoom.
Yeah, and the screen is going to be shared with you as well. And I would like the Copelands to introduce themselves. You might want to be near his computer, sir.
You want me to stand there?
Well, just so you have to talk into the
Oh,
computer.
so that they can hear me.
Thanks.
Okay, so, Mary, would you mind muting and I'll switch with you?
Sure will.
And then if you turn your volume off, I'll.
On, so we avoid that. There we go.
You have to
Perfect.
understand, my work computer is a PC. This one is
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, I hope everyone at home can hear us. Can you give a thumbs up if you can? Wonderful. Okay. Well, wonderful. All right.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And my name is Scott Copeland, and I'm a principal of RST Development. And this is my colleague and son, Danny Copeland.
So,
And has been with us for a little over a year, helping us with some of the development that we have going on. And I just want to make sure everybody out there can hear me. And I want to congratulate you guys on Neighbors Helping Neighbors. You'll see in a few minutes that it's kind of near and dear to our hearts as well. And I applaud that it's happening in this community. I think that's terrific. RST, I'm gonna step back for 1 minute and scroll down a little bit as we do this dual purpose. RST, we are a privately held, multi-generational, family-owned real estate company. We're based here, or we have an office in Rockville, Maryland. Actually a 1988 graduate of the University of Maryland, so I've been coming to College Park for many years. 1988, I know. When I was driving here, I was like, oh my gosh, that was a long time ago. And I think the subject property that we're talking about tonight, the same motels were on that property, and I think they were old then. So in any event, I have a little experience up and down Route 1, and I'm very happy to be able to do something here in College Park that I think will be very meaningful for the community. Okay. We have a great deal of experience in this field. Since founding, my brother is my partner. He's the T in the RST. My father, who is my other partner, is the R, Robert and Todd. I know not a very creative name, but nonetheless. And Todd also is a graduate of the University of Maryland. We've done about 10,000 apartments, including ground up construction, renovations, all different aspects, all in the multifamily space, and currently have about 6,000 apartments in our portfolio, both affordable and market rate units. And our goal really is long-term owners and operators. We do not have partners in a traditional sense with equity and things of that nature. So it's all kind of contained within our family, and we do our own construction of the project as well. And as you see on the screen, or on the screen and on the computer, it's our mission is to create the strong and inclusive communities through exceptional living experiences. And we really do live to that mission. So if you could just go down one more slide. One project that I'll share with you, just to give you a little bit of who we are and what our focus are these days, and why I'm so moved by the Neighbors Helping Neighbors, is a project in Rockville called Main Street, which is a partnership between RST Development and my wife's nonprofit called Main Street Connect. And Main Street is a really special place. It's a one of a kind the first of its kind, really in the country, that's acting as a model for many. 25% of the units are set aside for individuals with disabilities. Our third son, Danny's, one of Danny's younger brothers lives in the building. There are 70 apartments there, 3/4 of which are affordable. 25% again are set aside for individuals with disabilities. The secret sauce there is a 10,000 square foot community space that offers an enormous amount of programming and community involvement, working towards independence and a lot of other activities that are for the residents of the building and for other members of the community. So it expands beyond the walls of the building. We also have a cafe in the front called Soulful Cafe, which we own and operate and employ several of the residents and other people that are part of our community. And I can't really read the bottom.
Here.
Yeah, we just talked about membership.
Yeah.
So if we can keep going down this page real quick. So I think we're all familiar, you're all probably more familiar than I am even with the proposed development site along Baltimore Avenue. Currently houses 3 motels that have certainly seen their better days. And we're excited to, we work very hard to get the project, to get the site under contract. A very friendly, but difficult, not difficult, it's not the right word, but an entrenched seller who is an operator of the properties there. So we felt very fortunate to finally get the properties under contract. Working on about 8 or 10 months ago now at this point. Yep. So I'm excited to be moving forward with the proposed project, which would look like, you can keep going down. Before I do that, let me just to give you, if you want to just take a second, the wider view. I'm sure you're all very familiar. Baltimore Avenue, and it's bordered by both Delaware on the north and then Cherokee on the south, just to give you a perspective of where everything is. Next. So this is the project that we are proposing. You'll forgive the generic name at this point, RST College Park. I think we'll probably end up doing better than that with the name, but wanted to give a little bit of a flavor of what we're looking at doing here. The project would be approximately 318 units. That would, the majority of which, you see the relationship along Baltimore Avenue, along Route 1. If you keep scrolling down, Danny.
Yep.
Thanks. And then this gives you the perspective. The first shot was from Cherokee. And this is a vantage point looking from Delaware up to up Route 1. I'm sorry. This is Cherokee looking. I'm sorry. This is Cherokee looking up. Yeah, that's right. And you can see that there is a garage exit, entrance and exit along Baltimore Avenue proposed. And then Danny, I think if we keep going down, Tom, there's another image.
Well, you can zoom out a touch, Tom. I got you.
That shows the and then there's an entrance, and Danny just pointed with the
Yeah, so this is along Cherokee.
yeah, so that's an entrance to the parking garage along Cherokee. There will be an above grade parking deck that will be hidden by the building, obviously, that you won't see from the street. We can keep going.
Sure.
This is an image of the rear of the building. There would be a step down in the back of the building. And if we can for 1 minute, let's go back up a couple of slides to the parcels. So
Sure.
It's hard. Danny, can you expand that?
Yep.
So yeah. So the ones that says additional lots to be used as landscape buffer, those are also, that's part of our acquisition of the parcels, but will not have any development on it. So there will be a landscape buffer between the existing neighborhood and the building in both instances. I'm sorry, now we can go back to,
Sure.
to the other image. And then this image is, yeah. All right, Tom, we're getting it.
Yeah.
This image is the rear of the building. So you see that there's a step down in the building, and then that would be looking from Cherokee, from the Cherokee direction, again, in the back of the building. And then the next slide, Danny, is looking the other way from Delaware,
Yep.
just to give you a little bit of perspective of what the building will look like as it relates to the existing community. Continuing on, we're working diligently with our landscape architects and our designers, engineers, our attorney, Tom Haller, who I didn't introduce earlier, who was with us tonight. And this just gives you a little bit of the inspiration of some of the plantings that will occur in and around the site. And the amenities that will be included in the project are an interior courtyard, as you see there, with a swimming pool. And then there's another area that's in between the two structures, if you will, for some other passive seating. Do we have anything programmed in there?
No, it's going to be passive. seating
Yeah,
right now.
some passive area. And then there's a small area in the front of the building that provided a little break in the building as kind of the entrance to what will be the marketing space and other spaces into the building that will have some public seating areas as well. Continue on. And this is just a little bit more detail, gives you a general idea. We're still in some planning stages, obviously, but gives you a little bit of idea of the level that we're looking to build to. And again, building for the long term, and really trying to make sure that we can entrench ourselves into the community. Further detail on the swimming pool and the outdoor amenity space that will be part of the building. And of course, this will include other community spaces, a fitness room, things that are very typical in a Class A apartment building. And we'll also include flavors of what we've done in Rockville with our Main Street project, either in the form of a partnership with them in terms of programming and other things that we feel we can. We good? Good. No worries at all. Other aspects of Main Street that we look to continue in our mission from Rockville into this building as well, and feel like there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to do so. So with that, again, these are just some images that are representative of what we're proposing as we're finishing out the plans on this project. So that's the project in a nutshell, and would welcome any questions or comments, and happy to do what I can to answer them.
Okay, so the way we're gonna handle this is that we'll take a question from the audience here, we'll take a question from people at home, and go back and forth until we're all done with questions.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Now your turn. We have a tag team going here. So what I said was that we're going to take one question from the people in the audience here, then we're going to take one question from people at home, and we'll go back and forth until we don't have any more questions or it's time to move on, okay? So Aurelis had her hand up first. She shot her hand up really fast. So what would you like to ask?
Okay, so what I wanted to ask of the 318 units that will be there, what is the percentage that will be for seniors or the disabled population or affordable housing? And the project, this is 2 years, 3 years,
Good
and the
question.
market rate.
Yeah, I'll take the second one first, if that's okay. We're working diligently on advancing our plan. That's part of the reason that we're here. We're finally far enough along that we are submitted and accepted on our subdivision application. I ask Tom every day how long that's gonna take, and, but we're in process, so, we're working, which leads to the second question, or the first question, I'll answer secondly. We're working with the financing of the project, which is proposed to be affordable. So 100% of the building will be affordable housing.
Well, what do we call
Yeah.
affordable
Correct.
housing?
What does that mean?
I understand, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. So, there's a tax credit program
Mhm.
that's called the low income housing tax credit. Okay, yes. It's a federal tax credit program, and the tax credits are administered by the state of Maryland. We will be pursuing that type of financing, which would serve individual households that are earning 60% of the adjusted median income or less. No greater than 60% of the adjusted median income. In relationship to set aside units for individuals with disabilities or special needs, yet to be determined as far as a specific amount. So I don't want to tell you what the exact number is, because I just don't know yet. But certainly will be a part of our underwriting with the state.
Well, I'm more concerned for the senior and the disabled population because there's not enough affordable housing
Understood.
in the city of College Park for those seniors that,
Yeah,
that want to age in place and then, having the affordability.
right.
So is it
Yeah,
going to be project-based?
No, there probably will not be any project-based vouchers, or it'll be a sticky voucher, a voucher that goes with the resident. But obviously accepted. And the qualification on a tax credit project that it sounds like you're very familiar with is based on the makeup of the household. So there are, in the case of Main Street, there was an opportunity to set aside those units for individuals with needs, but not, in this case, it would not be a requirement. But again, from a mission standpoint, those are the things that we're taking under consideration, that we feel and have market studies and have done a ton of research in terms of exactly what you said is exactly correct, is that there's a real pent-up demand for affordable housing in this space.
Absolutely.
So there's not a percentage set aside for seniors or disabilities?
Can we raise hands, please? Sorry, just because it's not fair to the people at home. Okay, so go ahead, and since it's on the same topic, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah,
Is it set aside for seniors and?
there is not a specific percentage that is set aside now, that, sets it aside for people, but everybody is obviously, that qualifies to live there based on the tax credit program is obviously is welcome, and that there will be programming that would support both of those communities. So we imagine that would be, a desirable place for individuals that do qualify to live.
Okay, now I'm going to the audience here. Okay, I don't know who was first. Was it Lisa or was it Judy?
I can defer to Lisa. She can go first.
Lisa, you're unmuted, so can you ask your question?
Thank you, Judy. Yeah, first off, could I ask the representative to get closer to you, Mary? Because it's difficult to hear him at home when he answers
wait a
the
minute.
questions.
Wait, oh, I'm sorry, do it again, Lisa.
What, could you ask the representatives to get closer to your computer since that's who he's speaking at? And because it's hard to hear him at home. So that
Okay,
would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, did you have any questions?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Right here.
I'm coming to you tonight as a representative of Meals on Wheels, and it's thrilling for me to hear that you've done so much with the seniors in Rockville. So Meals on Wheels needs to relocate back to College Park, and we would love to work with you to see if we might be able to get space in this new building so that we could move back to College Park and serve the residents in a new space that's closer to our original home base.
Happy to speak to you about that.
In what
Thank you.
venue would you
Yeah,
say?
I mean, we certainly, she can more than welcome to reach out to me, and we can figure out what they're looking for, what we may have available in the building. but happy to do that.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm also a board member for Meals on Wheels.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay, now I have a request from people at home. If you want to ask a question, would you please come up here and speak into my computer? We're very high tech here.
So I see you've done a lot of thought with the landscaping, especially from the back. And as someone who lives just a couple blocks away, that's interesting to me. But one thing I feel that we lack in College Park is the setbacks. And one of the things these hotels have is they're set back to the street by parking lots or whatever, but it gives less of a corridor feel
I
to Route
understand.
1. And it looks like the sidewalks are, they have trees, but they're not very wide. And so from someone who would be on the setback side, I would actually rather see the stepping in the front, so it doesn't feel as much of a urban block and more of the public space to open up the Route 1 corridor.
I agree. I'm going to let Tom sort of address that in terms of the sector plan and the.
Thanks, Tom.
Can I just interrupt real quick? Whoever's going to speak from Davis Hall needs to get closer to Mary's computer.
Okay, we're working on it.
Thanks.
You know, we're high tech here.
I know we are.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Haller, and I'm the attorney who's assisting RST with obtaining the approvals. And as many of you know, the Route 1 corridor is subject to the Central US 1 sector plan. And so there are specific requirements related to building heights and building locations. And so one of the goals of the sector plan is to pull the buildings as close as possible to the main streets. And there are certain streetscape requirements in terms of width of sidewalks, planting, trees, et cetera, that we're required to comply with. So we're designing this site as closely as we can to the requirements of the sector plan. And so that kind of dictates the form of the development as opposed to more of a suburban style of development. The property that's across the street, which is the monument property, is going to be of a similar height. We're going to be a similar height to them, about the same. And so, but what we've tried to do, particularly in because we've had some early conversations with Terry Shumman and Miriam Bader at the city. And one of the things they expressed to us was to put a lot of thought into the rear, because we do abut a residential area. And so what we've done in that regard is two things. We've, number one, we've stepped the building down to reduce the height in the back, but we've also, those two additional properties that they're going to acquire, rather than trying to develop them, we're going to remove the existing house that's on the first lot and make that a landscape buffer and fence it so that it creates, between the lowering of the building and the adding of the landscaping, will truly be able to buffer the existing residential neighborhood. But I understand your comment, and so we're, as I said, with regard to the building locations and whatnot, we're trying to conform to the sector plan as much as we can.
Thank you, Mr. Haller, for that. Okay, we're going to, same topic. We've got somebody here from the audience here that's going to ask a similar question or something related.
Related on the topic of the landscape buffer, is I saw the buffer behind. Is that proposed as a wooded buffer, or is that for water control and retention?
A wooded buffer, a landscape buffer. It's not for retention.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's see. Judy, I think you were up next. So what's your question?
Thank you. Thank you, RST, for your presentation. And to follow up with Lisa's comment about utility of the real estate, is it possible that you would consider having an open period for comments from us? Development is not new to us, but our concerns about overgrowth, sustainability, parking, overwhelming utilities, and the list can go on and on and on, which is not new to anybody that's on tonight. So would you consider giving us a comment period so that we could make suggestions, express concerns so that we can work together?
I'm certainly happy to, and I don't know if you guys can see me because I'm standing up.
I think they tell me.
I'm certainly happy to entertain any of your comments. As we are under, a pretty stringent timeline based on our contract, and obviously these are, you know, very, very substantial acquisition for us in terms of the parcels themselves. So if it doesn't interfere or delay our time, I can't stop the process for that. I just don't have the luxury of that time. But certainly happy to, you know, entertain any comments or questions that you guys have along the way, or suggestions.
Thank you for saying that. I would encourage you to give us time to comment because we're a strong voice. And we have, you can look at our history of NCPCA, how we have been involved in influencing amendments to other development that went on in the past. I would encourage you to give us some consideration. You want to work with us. And I would ask that you really give that some time, please.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take the liberty of asking a question since I'm also in the audience.
Can I ask a procedural question? Should we get in line if we want a question? Is that going to be helpful for you?
And I don't care how we do it. I
Okay.
have a line on the, on here. Mr. Howler, I assume this is going to be a question for you. What is the timeline for,
Sure. I'll sit down too, so you can see me. This is a two-step process for us. We have to go through two approvals. We have to go through a subdivision of the property, and we also have to go through a detailed site plan. We just filed the subdivision application.
you did, okay.
We do not anticipate that it will be before the planning board prior to September, however.
Okay.
Because as you know, they take a recess in August.
Mhm.
And so we don't anticipate having that before the planning board until then. I believe that the city has us penciled in for the July dates, July 5th and 12th.
Wow.
July 5th for a work session and July 12th
Well,
for city council.
I would say that with my conversation with Terry Shum today, she said you weren't really, I don't know, that's what she said to me, that you weren't really penciled in. So that's between you guys.
Well, okay, but I mean, we weren't sure when we were going to be in front of the
Sure.
planning board.
Yeah.
And so it depends on, I know the council has a lighter schedule in the summertime.
Mhm.
So we may end up getting bumped to the August timeframes, but I'll follow up with her on that.
Mm.
The second application is our detailed site plan. That hasn't been filed yet. So we're waiting. We have some preliminary approvals that we need to get. So we do have time to take comments and factor those into our plans. But I would anticipate that that would go to the planning board probably more like October as opposed to September. So
Okay.
we still have some time.
Yeah, we do. I think Judy, you are familiar with the planning board comment period since you've been down to Upper Marlboro, well, when it was in Upper Marlboro. So I think we'll still have time to give some comments. Let's see, we've got a line here, but okay. Judith, you want to come up?
Thanks, Mary. My concern as a resident of the Otterville neighborhood, which
You want to
is
show here?
here behind Monument Village, we had to deal with a lot of stuff there. And one of my concerns, my husband's concern too, is with traffic, parking, and so forth. And one thing you mentioned, you said 318 units, but how many 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units are there? How many people do we expect to be living there? How many cars might we project them to have? And how many of them would be used frequently? This relates to what Arelis was asking about, you know, seniors and people with disabilities who probably wouldn't be driving themselves as much, but other folks might.
Right. Good question. I'm just gonna, and you don't have to move. I just want to make sure that it is a mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Okay.
Do you have the specific?
20% 1-bedrooms,
Okay.
just over 50% 2-bedrooms, and just under 30% 3-bedrooms.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
We have a,
I'm a realtor.
we have a,
We can't hear, I'm sorry. Can
So-
please
so-
speak up?
yeah,
What was the
yeah.
answer?
So I'm sorry. Roughly 20% are one bedrooms. Approximately half the building are two bedrooms, and the balance, just under 30%, are three bedrooms. So it's a mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s. We do have a on-site parking deck. We are in a walkable mode. So I'm not sure exactly what the requirement is on a per unit basis, but we are providing 359 car above grade garage.
Yeah, the requirement is one space per unit, but we're going to seek an amendment to provide more parking than that because we think we need a little bit more parking.
Exactly. So is that?
Yes.
Yes, there is a section of retail, correct? And that would, that's one of the reasons for some of the additional parking and guest parking and things of that nature. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going now to Denise Mitchell.
Madam President, my colleague, Ms. Mackey, was before me.
Oh, okay, Ms. Mackey. I got erroneous information.
Thank you. Thank you, Jude, for asking a lot of the questions that I was asking. I'm very concerned about the parking because we've had that issue in other units that there wasn't enough parking and it was spilling over to city streets. And can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And we want to make sure that if we with something like this, that we're not causing a burden to the houses in there. So thank you for addressing that problem. I'm of the mind, I think Mr. Haller mentioned that you're trying to get an amendment to try to get some more parking. I would applaud that effort to get more parking. I was wondering if you could tell us, a lot of times when you talk about affordable housing, there are not washer and dryers in the units. Are we saying that there will be or will not be washer and dryers in the units?
No, there will be. You know, part of our program, this will be a highly amenitized. Candidly, on its surface, other than the financing, you wouldn't know that it was affordable versus market rate.
Okay.
We're long-term owners. We're very vested in our communities, in particular our properties, but also in the greater community. So very high-end finishes, which would include washer and dryers in each unit.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering that. And I'm gonna defer to others because I will be seeing you at a work session sometime
Good.
in the future, and probably will have a lot of questions for you then. I'll let someone else speak.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Mackey. Who in this audience would like to ask? Oh, yeah, Elena, she's in the line. I didn't see her.
That's okay. Come on, I guess
Go
I'll talk.
ahead.
I don't know what to talk
Take
about.
take the hot seat.
Take the hot seat. Okay, so first I just want to say I'm really excited for this. We desperately need housing in this the city and more denser housing. So my question first is regarding the parking. I actually would love to see you guys go with the minimum because I think we're really trying to build a more walkable neighborhood here by having that extra parking. That kind of tells people, yes, we want you to use your car. So I would love for you to just go with the minimum. And because it just creates more traffic. But following that, what are you going to do for bike facilities? Because I think that's going to help encourage people. We're doing the city is doing a really nice streetscape, and then we're having protected bike lanes on Rhode Island Avenue. So they can, cut through there and get moms. And if they have, places to store their bikes, they might be less likely to drive for those short distances.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
Sorry, it's hard to.
Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the requirement is for bike, but we have a bike room. We have, in our bike rooms and our other projects, we have repair stations and things of that nature for people for really easy access in and out of the building, and the opportunity to hopefully store a lot of bikes there. So we're big bikers too. So that's a big plus for us. So it's certainly in the plan.
Oh, okay. So now we're going on to, let's see. Stephanie Butler is next. Stephanie? unmute yourself and
Yes, I hear you. Gee, a lot of great questions and most of what I wanted to ask. But again, the traffic, the coming on to Route 1, going off Route 1, more traffic signs, traffic lights is what I was thinking if that was in the in progress. But then as we're talking about bikes and that kind of thing, I'm thinking, is this going to be a dog friendly complex? And if so, are you going to have like a small area to walk your dog? Is there going to be that sort of thing available to residents in this complex?
It will be pet friendly. We typically limit the limit of the dog is by weight typically in our projects. And we do have a dog park is that on there? It's not on now. It's on the screen here. I know you can't see it now, but we do have a dog park and an opportunity for residents obviously to use that. And regarding the parking and the access, currently there are 4 access points from the property onto Route 1. The proposed development would have 1. And Danny, would you go back to that and just highlight the 1 access point out of the garage onto Route 1, please?
Yes.
So that, yeah, that's all right. Go back to the one more, I think. Yeah. So that's an image of that's where the proposed access point would be. That would be a right in off of Baltimore Avenue and a right out of the garage only. And then at Cherokee, which already has a traffic signal, would be, and then Danny, if you could put your mouse then there's an entrance to the garage off of Cherokee as well. So we feel that we have a very good circulation inside of the garage and good drop-off areas, good Uber pickups and Uber Eats drop-offs and things of that nature. So we've thought through that circulation, and I think we make the in and out onto Route 1 much more efficient than what's currently there. And then obviously taking advantage of the light that's already exists at Cherokee and Route 1, I think makes that for a pretty efficient intersection.
okay. Mark, do you want to come up and ask your question?
So the low-income housing tax credit program in the state of Maryland is very competitive.
Can you speak into the computer, Mark?
Sure. The low-income housing tax credit program in the state of Maryland is very competitive. What do you think your chances are of winning it? And what happens? What is the status of this proposal if you don't? And I have a follow-up there once you answer that one.
Okay, that's a good question. So there are 2 programs, it sounds like you're familiar with. There's what's called a 4% low-income housing tax credit and a 9% low-income housing tax credit. You are 100% correct in that the 9% credits are very competitive and oversubscribed year after year. We are not applying for 9% tax credits. We're applying for 4% credits. 4% credits are available on a first come, first served basis based on certain bond issuances that the state offers. We are in discussions with the state. The state is very aware of this project. We've just completed, we've done several in the state, but just completing Main Street. So that wasn't 9%, by the way, not a 4%. So we're very confident in the underwriting. We're very confident in the issuance of that bond. So we don't really have a plan B, candidly, if this doesn't go through, but our experience is that this 4% allocation will occur. So you want to ask your follow-up?
So I know that the 9% comes with a 15-year requirement. What is the 4%
Same.
cover? Also a 15-year.
Yes, same.
Okay,
Same.
all right. Okay, my follow-up then does not exist. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so we're moving on to Councilmember Denise Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, gentlemen, for coming out this evening. I too had questions, or I should say concerns about the traffic. just because I was part of the process for the development across the street of Monument. And that had a lot of different pieces to it, which we thought will be a benefit to the residents, but it seems to be now causing a lot of consternation to the residents on Otterville Drive regarding parking and traffic. So my question to you is, number one, have you reached out to Monument to talk about some of their best practices? And are you planning to reach out, have a presentation for the residents on Otterville Drive regarding this, because this will impact them?
The short answer is no, we have not reached out across the street, but or I think that's a great suggestion, and we can look for best practices. I know we have conducted an extensive traffic study that was scoped as you know, by the county and the city. And we are happy to meet and discuss any aspect of this development with any member, any community group that you see fit. We're always available to do that.
Okay,
If I could add one thing to that.
Yeah, sure.
We are required to do a bicycle pedestrian impact statement, and that identifies pedestrian needs in the area. And our traffic consultant has identified potential pedestrian improvements around the property. But if the community has any suggestions of things that they would like to see, I would rather have RST make improvements that you want rather than something that a traffic consultant in Upper Marlboro thinks is good. Yes.
I definitely love to see.
Oh, wait a
sorry.
minute, you got to talk into the.
Oh, here, I would love to see, you should go look at what City Hall did when they redid their building. They actually built a bike lane that's not on the road, so it's elevated, it's right next to the walk, like, it looks really nice, and I think adding something like that would be beneficial. It's a wide sidewalk, then a bike lane, and then the buffer. Between. Right, is that, people who know City Hall, is that right? Walkway, or sidewalk, bike lane, buffer?
And I say Route 1.
It's City Hall. Yeah, I would just take a look at it. It looks really nice.
And Mary, a second question to Mr. Haller.
Oh, Mr. Haller.
Or developer. With you're talking about this being affordable housing, are you also looking at veterans being a part of that process as well?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I apologize.
That's okay, no problem. When you talked about affordable housing, you trying to make this affordable housing, are you also looking at veterans, military people?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, the restriction of the program, the plus and the minus of the program is the opportunity that it presents, but it's also is a qualifying criteria. But from our experience in marketing efforts, we are obviously very inclusive of all parts of the community, which would include the veterans community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I would just like to clarify for people who don't know this, the other side of Otterville, which is the west side, they are actually technically part of North College Park, so they are always welcome to come and join us. They haven't done so for many years, so just an FYI. Okay. Okay.
Madam President, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to follow up on what Mr. Haller said. Because he just opened up the window, Mr. Haller.
Yes.
Okay, you invited us to submit ideas to you, right? And that's what I was trying to say when I spoke, is that if you could give us some time to talk to you way before it gets to parking planning, where that's never fun for the developer or for the community at that point. But if you can give us some time, and when I say some time, a few weeks, something to hear our comments.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't, if it's appropriate for you to email them to President Cook, that's fine. We're happy to receive any comments that you have. As I said, it'll be several months before we get to the planning board. So we're happy to entertain any questions or comments that you have.
Thank you.
Okay, is that answer?
And we're happy to come back to the organization again.
Yeah, that might, we might
closer.
just do that. And by that time you will have nailed some things down, and I'm sure you've had some more brilliant ideas.
I don't know about that.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to come back up?
I have another thought, because we do need multiple bedroom housing. That's great. have you, and I don't know if this happens at some point in your process, have you talked to PG County schools? Because they're in the midst of a redistricting right now. And they have different options, including the kids who are right there who'd be in that development, whether they're going to go to Greenbelt Middle or the new Buck Lodge. And they're also debating whether they would be still sent down to the current elementary school, or they'd be sent to the new Cherokee Lane. And if you know you're going to have kids in the multifamily units, at some point it might be helpful before they decide, and then shuffling the people again.
Sure. Yeah, great comment. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was an excellent, I'm glad that you brought that up. Councilmember Kabir, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming, and I really appreciate that you are very open to have further dialogue with the community. And if we recall the other development close to your RST one, the Monument and the Metropolitan, when they were developed, the developers actually engaged the community, and the declaration of covenant before the city actually did with the developers. They had multiple meetings, so
Yeah,
please,
it's our pleasure.
please do that as
Yeah.
soon as, I mean, as many times as possible, because I'm sure that this is kind of back and forth communication that needs to happen. So I'd like to encourage that. I have on the question I have, just want to confirm something. On the breakdown you gave of the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, 20%, 50%, 30%. Looks like I did some math, so you'll be having around 700 rooms. Am I correct?
I haven't done the same math, but I'll trust your math. That sounds.
That sounds correct, right? So the reason I'm saying that someone is asking, because there are 700 people living, there could be potentially 700 cars. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The other question maybe Mr. Holler for you. You know the US 1 sector plan. You did not mention how many stories would be the front side and the back sides. If I recall, based on the previous conversations, the 5 stories and 7 stories on the back, 5 stories on the front.
Yeah, please come over here because they're complaining.
The sector plan has a 6-story limit. The building along the front, because the property slopes, I think it is a combination of 6 stories and 5 stories, depending upon where you are along Route 1. And then the back is 5 stories. So we've stepped it down to 5 stories. When we had talked before, we had talked about a possible 7 stories because the property falls in the back. And we were trying to keep an even height, but after talking to Terry about making sure that we are buffering the community, we dropped the height to 5 stories in the back.
Thank you. That's fantastic, because US 1 sector plan does require a step back transition to the community. So it looks like you took care of that. And finally, the last question I have, I know you're coming back to city council, so I shouldn't be asking too many questions. This is for the residents to ask. The traffic study, you talked about the bicycle and pedestrian impact statement studies you'll be doing, but what about the vehicular traffic study? Can you talk about that? Have you done it or are you planning to do it?
The traffic study, yes.
So
we've hired a traffic consultant to prepare a study. He's gotten a scoping approval from the county as to what intersections to study, and he's done the study. The result of the study was that the corridor still continues to operate within the county's guidelines. So we don't have any identified offsite improvements. We will need to work with State Highway Administration and with the county on it, or the city on any frontage improvements along the property. So that's one thing that we haven't gotten into detail about because we're not quite at that point in the process yet. Done the full study.
Okay, we thank you for that. And we're going to end this discussion, and maybe we can have them back at another point. I do have one question. Are you going to be doing this under the old zoning or the new zoning? Under the old zoning. Okay, I think I looked that up, but I didn't look at my notes today. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's thank them for coming tonight. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be hearing from us.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. I think that turned out relatively well. I know you people out in the audience at home could not hear sometimes, but what can I say? You know, we're low tech here. Okay, so let's move on. I forgot to have an approval of the minutes. Hey, can you guys close the door? Sorry, just a minute. Okay, there's a conversation going on in the hall. Okay, so due to some issues with the minutes in the past, we now have, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have February, March, and April that is ready to be, that are ready to be approved. Is that correct, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I did read over them, and in fact, I have them here, but you know, Carol is the expert on this. So I don't know if any of the rest of you took the time to read them, but if, did anybody have any changes that they saw that needed to be made? Okay, that was a resounding no. Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes? February, March, and April.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the 3 set minutes.
Okay, and
I'll second it.
Stephanie, was that a second?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, I'm just making a note. Okay, and, okay, all in favor? Now, do me a favor. We have so many new people. Could you like put up your little hand or raise your hand if you're at home in the audience? Okay, do that, because actually Ellen is going to be taking pictures there. People here, are all of you members now? You didn't pay? Okay, so only people who have paid can vote. Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Thanks. Thanks for doing me that favor. Okay, thank you very much. And Ellen, did you get a picture?
Yes, I did. I don't know that I got everybody because there's 2 pages here, but I got everybody on the first page.
Oh, okay. Do you need them to raise their hands again?
Yeah.
Nah, okay. Okay, so moving on then. Let's see. Oh, Carol is going to give us an update on the website. She's going to take just a few minutes to tell us what's been going on with that.
Okay, a few minutes winds up being 5 minutes, Mary.
Make it short, Carol.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, this effort was not just done by me, it was done in conjunction with Councilmember Kabir and Elena Pitt, and without both of those people, I don't think this would have been done. So I want to at least acknowledge their efforts.
Yes.
To get an idea, the website that we are paying for, we're paying $35.40 a year. We no longer have to pay the $13 per year for domain mapping, which means really we're only paying $22.40 starting now with the website. As I stated in the treasurer's report, I actually paid for the first year. So this all start next year. We're still using the WordPress software, but our host computer system or whatever you call it is changed. You won't even see it to change in that. Okay, fees. We currently pay 70 cents per transaction fee. That's usually that's the processing fee with the credit cards. As many people saw, they have the option to pay it so that the that amount won't be deducted from the $10. However, we're still paying a 7-cent transaction fee for every transaction. That's because we're using something called Donor Box, which made it easier to set up the forms to do this. Okay, so the membership fee winds up being either $9.93 or $9.23 that's credited to NCPCA. The amount is credited 2 to 3 business days after the user makes their payment. They have to make sure that the credit card situation goes through before they can process it. And they do this, they batch them up and do it in the, once a day. They don't do it, 10 or 15, or like we were having today, maybe 20 a day. Membership numbers. I counted up that we had a total of 43 memberships that were submitted via the website. 25 of them opted to pay the 70-cent fee. One membership wound up having to be refunded. That was to me because while I was testing, I actually put in 2 memberships, one using the automatic annual and the other one using just the one time, because I needed to find out what the person was going to see. But that wound up being a refund of $9.93 because I paid the 70 cents on that. 8 people decided that they would have their memberships renewed annually. So we wound up having 42 net memberships paid via the website. 5 people paid by cash. One of those was a 2-year membership. 2 people paid by check. And so we're still allowing people to go ahead if they don't feel comfortable with the website. They can do it. They can get their cash to one of us officers or somebody that they know who can get it to me, or they can mail it. And we also had 11 people who had paid memberships through either multiple memberships or paid it before the website stuff was available. So for this coming year, which started the beginning of this month, we have a total of 60 total memberships. Now, I do want to say one thing. Elena and I still realize that there are some areas with this that we've questioned, and we want to make sure we understand them. We are going to be continuing to look at this just so that they don't become an issue down the road. And if anybody has a concern about, they see something, they're saying, why is that happening? Or this is broken, please let us know, because we don't know what the problem is unless you say something. That's it.
Great job, Carol. Thank you very much. Arelis has a question. Is it for Carol?
No. I just have a question in regards when we're going back to the approval of the 3 months minutes.
Oh, I think you missed it when you were outside.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I expected your second on it, and I looked there and you were gone.
Sorry.
Okay.
Stephanie has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. Just a second. Let me see here.
Yes, I do.
Yes, Stephanie, what is your question?
My question for Carol is, and I'm not sure whether or not Alana spoke to you about this, but I had wanted to make an additional donation. So there is no button there to add on to my membership fee. So maybe that could be put on, penciled in to check it.
We'll add it to our list of things to look at.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
For that. Lisa, did you have a question? Lisa? Guess not. Okay.
Sorry, no.
No? Yeah, okay.
I don't know why my hand is up. Sorry.
Looking at me. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Okay, so next, we're going to have we're not actually having elections as we did in the old days, where you'd actually sit in the room and you fill out a piece of paper and we count them up and everything. We're now doing Election Buddy, if you're familiar with that. Okay, Arelis is excited. She did that for us last year. I've got a couple things to say. Then I think Ellen is going to actually explain the process, and Judy is actually going to lead the moderate the candidate statement, I guess is what I wanted to say. First, I wanted to say that according to the bylaws, we were supposed to take nominations in May.
Yes.
Okay. In May, we had only 2 people. We still had 2 empty offices. So that at that point, we left it open. Only in the last week or so did we learn that, we had people who wanted to run, which is fine. That was the idea of leaving it open. But at the same time, we learned that that caused us kind of an issue because then we were not prepared for it. Only because we knew that we had election buddy in the, in the background. We knew that. So if things seemed a bit discombobulated, it's because it was. And I also noted today that I think that the bylaws committee, when they complete their review of them and come before us, should consider making some kind of, I don't know how to put this exactly, put a note or include the fact that people need to have attended a certain number of meetings prior to being able to vote, because we had many people signing up yesterday and today to vote, and these people have never attended any meetings. Okay, and that doesn't seem quite fair. So anyway, so having said that, Ellen, would you like to proceed?
Sure. Election buddy, the way we have it set up is at 9:30, which should be around the end of this meeting. Election buddy will send links to where to vote to everybody that is a paid member. This assumes that I have all of the emails correct. If you do not get an email, or if there's some problem with it, you can email me at ELLENCA42@AOL.com or gmail.com, either one of them. The vote will take place until 8 o'clock tomorrow night, which is when the voting closes. And then I believe Mary is planning to send the announcement on Saturday of what the results of the voting are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I want to add is I believe that I have added everyone to our Google Groups email listserv, which I'm sure is what Mary's going to use to send the information out. Since you are being told you're getting something on Saturday, if you don't get it, please let us know, because we may have missed your email getting it into the group that is there. And I will give a little bit of cover for Ellen. I had to send her all the emails. So if there's an error in the email, it may or may not be her problem. It may have been mine. So I apologize if there's some problems, but when you are getting 10, 15 a day.
It was more than that.
Well, whatever number we were getting, after a while, your eyes start to, play games with you. And of course, I have 2 four-legged owners of my house who decided that they needed to have some attention, some of my attention too. So, but anyway.
Excuse me for a minute. When you say Google Groups, the NCPCA announcements we're getting, are they through Google Groups?
Yes.
Okay, because I received a notice from Google Groups that they're being bounced back from my account, but yet I'm receiving your NCPCA notices. So
interesting.
Well, Google and Gmail are doing some strange things with handling emails. I mean, I have a major problem with the primary Gmail email that I've been using, and that caused me even more heartburn through this whole thing. So I don't know if that is part of the problem, Judy, that you were having.
as long as I get the ballot is all
Yeah, you'll get a link. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't get it, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, before we proceed, Judy, I just wanted to say that The mayor and council will be receiving the link, but we are assuming that you're not going to vote because that is our, that has been our past. Now my brain is dead. That's been our past custom, is that mayor and council don't vote. So we're just assuming that you're not going to do that. Okay.
Mary, I'm not aware of any of that.
Well,
And should that be in our bylaws?
No, I voted last time.
Did you?
Yes.
Who said that?
Kate said that. I don't generally make comments during meetings, but I've always voted in the election.
Okay, I guess it was me and some of my colleagues that didn't vote because we didn't think it was proper for us to do so, but that's okay. You do what you need to do. Arliss. Arliss.
Yeah, I know. I just love him when he calls me Alice. But it's okay.
Oh, you
So
better be loud because they're gonna ask me about
my
that.
voice projects. So just to clarify my thinking, because I'm getting old. So are you saying that there needs to be like a separate committee for bylaws?
We have one.
In terms of, if, and then, if someone wants to run and. So, because that needs to be changed, because as long as your bylaws are the same, anybody can apply whenever.
Right, that's the issue. That was what came about today, yesterday and today. And so recognizing that, I think the bylaws committee will want to explore that and, bring it before the body.
Okay, but for this election.
Right.
What we have is what we have,
What we have is what we have.
and we're gonna rock and roll.
Okay, yep, that's
Okay.
absolutely right.
And Mary, would that be up for us to review, because the whole point of the association is to be inclusive and we don't want to like exclude people.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, I was saying once the bylaws change, will the membership be able to review that?
You
Because
wanna
we don't
come
want
over
to
here?
be exclusive. The whole point of association is to include as many people as possible. If we're creating ways to kind of remove people off the table, we're doing it.
Well,
you
who
know?
are we? I think the idea has always been, and Mark was a council member, I was a council member,
Yeah.
here's a council member. We have other council members. It's just because this is the residents association and they have all their opportunities to speak.
Oh, no,
you
I
know?
don't mean the voting. I mean, like, we don't want to exclude people from being able to come and be part
No,
of the
nobody's
association
talking about
and,
that.
change the bylaws from people running. I think if the
Nobody's-
people have a voice. They should
I
be able
don't
to come
think
and vote.
anybody's saying that.
Just wanted to put it out there.
The bylaws will be reviewed by the organization once
Body.
they're ready.
Yep, it's not our intention. We are a very, very inclusive organization. Okay, so Judy, it's your turn.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the candidates who submitted their names to run, 2 for president, 2 for vice president, and our incumbent for treasurer. And it shows the interest in NCPCA and how we want to work together and are concerned about each other. Because of the uncharted waters that NCPCA is facing right now. For example, we're dealing with the redistricting of the city, the rezoning initiative, stopping the development of McMansions, new development, as we heard tonight on Route 1 around Delaware, overlapping with the continued development on Cherokee, a new development at Ottoville, and these are just a few examples. What I would like to do is take this opportunity to review the responsibility of NCPCA and its leadership, which Carol kindly put out with the agenda. And this is important for the candidates to review and also for those of us who are going to be voting. So it's an excerpt of our bylaws. Section 1 states the purpose, which is to stimulate interest in and devise ways and means for the promotion of civic, community, and general welfare, giving special attention to public improvements beneficial to the North College Park area. The restrictions, NCPCA shall be strictly non-partisan, non-political, non-sectarian. However, NCPCA deserves the right to advocate or oppose any legislation affecting the welfare of the North College Park area. NCPCA shall endeavor to cooperate with other civic groups to promote the general welfare of the city of College Park. What I would like to do, given that we have a full slate, is ask each of the candidates a question. And my question I want to ask has not been reviewed or presented to any of the candidates. The four candidates, I'm going to ask both the president, the two running for president, the two running for vice president, because the definition of president, of vice president, according to Oxford, is that they are a deputized president. And at times they serve as president. So the leadership of the vice president is just as crucial. Given that, I have one question for the four candidates. I will call on you and you'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. I'll call on you in the order in which it was presented in the NCPCA list that went out.
Judy, can I stop you just for a second? How many questions do we have? Because I'm
One.
and it's 9:03 right now.
I think it's important, Madam President, we have one question.
Oh, well, I'm just thinking time-wise, okay? Because, you know, I left extra time for the Zoom session, but I just want to make sure we're not going to go over the time. Okay.
Question, and I'll begin with you,
Oh.
Madam President.
Say that again, Judy?
I'm going to ask my question. I'm going to begin with you.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And all of the remaining three candidates will have the chance to answer this question as well. How would you strike a balance among the general welfare of our homeowners who bought into lovely North College Park, all of our residents who want to live in peace without having to be concerned about lack of sustainability regarding building overgrowth and developing a balance with our developers? Mary, you're on.
Thanks, Judy. You know, that's a good question because that's what we deal with on a, you know, all the time here in College Park. And as we can see, you know, development is moving up Route 1, and we're going to experience more of this. Like, for example, our presentation tonight. And honestly, knowing a lot about the zoning process, and I know that there isn't a lot we can do. It's not like you can turn away a development. That would be very rare. That would be very rare. It did happen in my neighborhood, but it wasn't a development. It was a Chick-fil-A. But I think it's important to work then with the developers as you know, they came before us tonight, for example, and we need to work with them as closely as possible. That the project is not going away, but I understand you know, some of the people that came tonight are very concerned because they lived in that neighborhood. So we want to make sure that they have an adequate voice, you know, when they express their concerns to the developer. One thing I wanted to point out that, and then I guess I have 3 minutes, right? Is that the area where the new development is going to be is actually County Council District 3. And why does that matter? It matters because our county council member, Tom Dernoga, will not have first say about that, you know, that development. However, the reason we had the developers before us tonight is because we are North College Park. And North College Park includes everything from Greenbelt Road or 193 all the way up north past the Beltway up to IKEA and the Camden there. So I just want people to be aware of that, and we need to continue this conversation, not just with them, but with others as well, because those people, such as myself, we bought here for a reason. And it was, and our reason, for example, was because we found a cute little neighborhood. It's, we've got a park. Our house backs up on actually a county park. We have animals that come into our backyard that is just thrilling to see. And I personally don't want to lose that. How do we balance that out? So I think it's continued communication.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, next on the slate is Elena Pitt for president. And if you would like me to repeat the question, I will.
Do that, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Let me get.
You're muted, Elena.
Okay.
I'm going to talk from my laptop, so we were coordinating. So thank you for the question, Judy. So the reason why I decided to run for president is that I'm really hoping to make this, I really see NCPCA as being a foundation for community building here, which includes current residents, future residents, homeowners, renters. If you're 18 and you're still living at home, I think you are also welcome. So I want this to be a big tent organization that welcomes everybody. And I do think that education is extremely important in that today, like tonight, having the developer here was really educational. I learned a lot. We asked questions. And I think that that's really key, and that we want people to feel like they're included in the neighborhood, aware of what's going on. And that we can welcome more people into our neighborhood, because it is a great place to live. And I'm relatively new. I moved here a year ago and really love it, and want to kind of shout that from the rooftops and share it with other people. So I think there's if I were president, I would still continue with providing these forums and bringing developers in and talking about the projects that they are working on in our community. So that we can hear from them and they can hear from us. And I think having a diversity of voices here will really help with that too.
Thank you very much. Okay, next would be Ellen Caswell for vice president.
Hi. What did you say, Judy?
Next to answer the question is Ellen.
Ellen?
Yeah. I don't know that I have anything that they haven't already said. But yes, I absolutely think that forums like this tonight are excellent. I have also watched many mayor and council meetings where they're discussed. It's the opportunity for people to say what matters to them, to have some say in what will affect them is crucial. And I think like you were asking before, for a specific timeline by which we can get comments in, a specific date for commenting, that's important. I have, I live next door to Mary, so I have basically the same setting that she does. And I love it. It's wonderful. And being able to keep that kind of thing while still having some development, the development that this group tonight is planning is in a place where there's already development. So it's not going to be drastically changed as like, cutting down a woods or something. I think that it's having a reasonable degree of development that doesn't overtake all of the green spaces, all of the communities where people are already united, as Elena would like people to be united. Many of these communities are very strongly united within themselves, and then they can, of course, unite with other people too. I think that's good. So that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you very much. And lastly, Gail Mamatova.
Would you mind?
Yeah.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah. Thank you, Judy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm running with Elena, actually, in talking to her because my background is in equity, and I wanted to open up this association for the voices that were missing. When I showed up to the first couple of meetings, I saw that the association didn't have a lot of people who looked like me in here, and there are a lot of residents when I walk around that do look like me, and their voices are missing from these conversations. And so the developers, while they need to hear from everyone here, they also need to hear from the community around that lives here who's being impacted by the development. And so one of the things I want to focus on and why I'm running is the membership. I want to increase the membership, make it more equitable, make sure they're in the room and voicing their opinions, and we are creating the kind of development that's going to serve the community that's here. And that's what's going to be my focus. I've been living in College Park for 4 years, and I've been wanting to be part of the association and run, but for the last couple of years, I've been dealing with some health issues. And so Elena actually reaching out and including me has been great, and us opening up the membership to other people and talking to them and translating the form has been great. I've been hearing a lot from the neighborhood that they didn't even know the association exists. And so that's something I want to focus on. And I think our developers would want to hear from different voices. And that's the kind of unique perspective I can bring to the table. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And the next step I want to do is go around to the candidates again. We'll start at the top. If you would like to give us a few words on why you're running for the office and what you would like us to know about your leadership. So we'll start from the top. Mary, back to you, Madam President.
How many minutes do we have, Judy?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Sorry, I got a lot to say. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I don't like to talk about myself. I just, for people who don't know me, my husband and I came from abroad, and he's an immigrant, and I had lived in the Middle East with him, of course. And we came to College Park, and we immediately joined the Community for a Better Environment. We were interested in getting involved in the community, and I think that anybody who knows me very well is aware of the fact that not only was I the chair of the community CBE, which is a Committee for a Better Environment, I was the chair for Advisory Planning Commission, I am the chair for the Veterans Memorial Committee, I'm a Neighborhood Watch Coordinator, and I've also served on the City Council for 2 terms. This city is very near and dear to my heart. And we've gone through a lot of changes. And I just wanted to point out that I've been there all along the way. I think some of the things that we've done in the last few years as an organization are, they're just typical of what we've done in the past. But, just because it was COVID didn't mean we stopped. We supported affordable daycare over on, the Monarch School over on Rhode Island Avenue. We did have some caveats for them because, we were very concerned that we have reasonable tuition costs because, it's obvious that some of people in our community cannot necessarily pay, $1,100 for, 5 days of care each week. Unfortunately, that is what the tuition is at this point. There are some possible subsidies, just an FYI. But that was one of the things that we did. We also let the City Council know that ARPA funds, which stands for American Rescue Plan Act, those funds, which came from the federal government, we made suggestions on how to use them. Some of our suggestions was like the bike infrastructure, street lighting, tutoring, after-school care, low-cost renovations of senior homes, and the welcome wagon, which, is off and running. We've also had our city planner in a few times because we're very concerned about the Hollywood streetscape and when that was going to come about. This is something that we, people in the community had commented on. We were participated in meetings, and we are anxious to have it done because we believe that it's going to beautify Rhode Island Avenue and Edgewood intersection. And if that becomes a little bit more appealing, maybe we're going to have some more appealing retail there. Finally,
unless my clock is wrong, I think that's it. But thank you, Madam President. Thank Elena for President.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for the question, Judy. So as I mentioned, I moved here about a year and a half or a year and 2 or 3 months ago. I've lived in the DC area for longer than that, but I moved here with my husband and our 2 cats. And as soon as I moved here, I've gotten involved. I spearheaded the welcome wagon with NCPCA, and I'm working on that closely with Stephanie Butler. We've made some great progress and hoping to have that running by the end of the year. I love this community, and as soon as I moved here, I knew I wanted to get involved and be an active participant, and that's why I decided to run for president here, because I do love the community, and I really think I have some great ideas for what we can do as an association to bring more people in, being more, community facing, doing more events, collaborating with our business community, our faith community, our school community. I have a ton of different ideas, and I think a really fresh perspective on what we can be doing. A bit about my background, aside from when I moved here. My background is in nonprofit fundraising, marketing, communications, and operations. So I've done the gamut. I've done the dirty work. I've done the fun work. And lastly, I have board experience. I was the vice chair and for 1 year and the chair for 2 years of AmeriCorps Alums DC. I led us through the pandemic, and we also got our 501c3 status. For those that know, that means that we can fundraise and give you a tax, deductible tax receipt. But it was I learned so much in that position, and I really enjoyed being a leader and bringing up my other team members, and serving my community. For those who don't know, AmeriCorps is like it's domestic Peace Corps essentially. So, and I also actually did my AmeriCorps service in local government. I was in the community services department, so I actually have a really good idea of the inner workings of local governments, and idea of in relating with them and relating with council. So I think all around, I have my background.
Thank you.
And
Elena,
my enthusiasm for the neighborhood and for being involved.
Elena, I have to stop your wonderful presentation. Okay, I'm sorry, but thank you very much. Okay, Ellen, for Vice President.
Hi, I have been secretary and vice president both for NCPCA. I've been living in College Park for almost 4 years. Well, that doesn't count when I was a student. That was a number of years when I was a student too. That was a long time ago. And I basically am very interested in what's going on here. It's been wonderful for me to learn what a real municipality is like. I hope to continue to try to make things work together. One of the things that I think I do as a vice president is try to keep things going as smoothly as possible. And I am not as experienced as Mary, she knows the history. She really knows College Park history, and I don't know as much as she does, but I'm learning, and I think it's important to know. And I think that it's I am doing my best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Gail, for Vice President, Mama Tova.
Thank you. I moved to College Park with my wife and our 2 dogs about 4 years ago, and we were very intentional about choosing where we wanted to live. I immigrated to the United States, but the area I lived the longest has been Virginia. I graduated with my political science degree from George Mason University, got my master's in business from American University, so I've been here my entire life in the DMV area and very familiar with DC, Virginia, Maryland, and College Park has been a place where I wanted to live, grow up, and just essentially settle down. So we're very intentional about choosing where to live. The reason I wanted to run for vice president is, like I said, my background is in equity, but one of the things I've been doing over the past 15 plus years is going into associations and really helping them, not only with equity work, but also with their processes in general. And so one of the things that I feel like NCPCA could really benefit in a vice president role is someone who can come in and implement some technologies that can reach a lot more people, make some of the things efficient so we can really focus on the things we really care about. think about how, what our like members are, could look like, create those like member journeys and think about how to outreach those specific members. And I think there is a lot of opportunity to do that. And I have the energy for it and the time for it. And so I'm super excited to be able to do that. If you have any questions, I'm always like open. I'm gonna, you know, like to answer them. And even if, you know, like I'm really just excited to be involved, and I'm excited to involve as many people as possible. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all the candidates. Carol, I see your hand is raised, but I also would like to ask you if you can say a few words about running for treasurer as an incumbent.
Well, I'm running unopposed, so I guess my, well, you have two options: vote for me or don't vote for treasurer. So there is another option. And I just wanted to say that I have been your treasurer for this past year. Before that, it was 2 years as the vice president. I decided I'm retired. I moved from Connecticut, so I'm not a native of this place, but I've been in Maryland for probably almost 50 years. Not 50 here, maybe about 45 here in College Park. And I like this community. My background is computers. I'm learning a lot with the treasurer position, and my emphasis on the treasurer position is transparency and documenting what the treasurer does. For two reasons. One, the members should know what we're using their money for. And two, documenting so that whenever I no longer become the treasurer and somebody picks up, they're not going to have to go through the grief that I went through trying to find out what the heck the treasurer is supposed to do. So,
Amen.
and I also, as the side point, I'm the person who maintains the website. So that's why I was given the time to talk about the paid website. I do want to emphasize again, if you have any questions, even comments, feel free to send an email. We'll look at it. We're not going to just chuck it off and say, nah, that's not worth it. You know, you might be the only person who thinks that way, and so we have to address it that way. But again, and with this paid website and the dues payment through the website, this is brand new. So we know that there's going to be some rough spots coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, that's it. So we're back to Ellen on election buddy.
I don't think I need to add much more than what I said before. I will repeat my email address if you do not get your link to a ballot, or if you have other problems with it, ELLENCA42@AOL.com or gmail.com. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellen. Thank you very much. Thanks, Judy, for taking that on. I mean, that was popped on her at the last minute. Let's move on to new business and future agenda items. Just because my mouth is already open, I'm going to say, you know, I had thought that maybe we could do a picnic in July because that was previously our tradition. You know, we would do one in Hollywood Park. I don't know how you guys feel about it. That would be something we should hurry up and think about because it is June already. I would say if you're interested in having a picnic, even though we could probably get funds from the city, we should probably take a motion to approve some monies from the NCPCA budget, because just in case we don't get any money from the city for, you know, a grant. So I would suggest if anybody's interested, you know, we go ahead and make a motion on that. And the other thing I was going to say is, you know, we've been invited to participate in the 4th of July parade. That's something else. I don't know, you know, Elena, maybe that's something you like to do. It's up to you. It's, you know, this is a democracy. Whatever you wanted to do is up to you. So do we have any new business? Mark?
I will say is.
Oh, don't forget, Mark.
Okay.
So a little bit more steadfast.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I will say as a former officer of this organization, that the key thing to having any event like a picnic is whether or not there are people who are willing to do the work of organizing it. And if you are not willing to participate in doing the work of organizing it, I suggest that you vote no.
Oh, thank you. Those are wise words of wisdom, Mark. Thank you for that. I'm glad you said that. Okay, does anybody else, does anybody here in the virtual world have anything that they wanted to talk about in regards to future agenda items or any new business? No? Okay, then Aurelis, wait, Carol.
Can I just remind people that we have primary elections coming up next month? The primary election date, this is for the nation, well, for Maryland, I should say, is July 17th. Early voting is July 7th through 14. Drop boxes for people who are getting their ballots mailed to them will be open starting on June 13th. You can mail, the ballots are currently being mailed out starting today. And you can still apply for an absentee ballot. Just do a search for the County Board of Elections. They have a ton of information on there.
Okay, Aurelis, do you want to say something? Thank you, Carol, for that.
Well, hey guys, so she actually beat me to the punch.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, election is July 19th, so if this organization.
17th.
Huh?
It's the 17th, not the 19th, if I remember correctly.
It's
the 19th.
It is the
It's
19th.
It's the 19th because I'm a judge. Hello?
Okay.
I'm just saying. It's the 19th. So for this organization and its member, taking that into account, I would really, if the organization wanted to have a picnic, I'm for having a picnic in August, maybe mid-August, before our beloved children go back to school. Family and friends.
Okay.
And I am for having as a former officer, as a treasurer, maybe a budget of $350.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, $350, and then attempting to get a grant.
Okay, so did you want to make a motion? Well, I mean, we can make an emotion. If we don't use the money, we don't use the money.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that if the organization decides to have a picnic from the current budget of North College Park Community Association should not exceed $350.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion? Thanks. Who is that?
I'm second.
Okay, well, Councilmember Kabir beat you. So, okay, so, sorry, Stephanie. So all in favor, say aye, raise your hand, or do something, wave at me. Okay, anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so the ayes have it. Now, Mark had wise words of wisdom. People have to be willing to work on this. So if there's anybody who wants to step forward and say, hey, I'd like to organize that picnic, jump.
Email.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna.
I was gonna say, send it to the NCP Civic email.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's listed on the website main page.
Mhm.
Then it'll get your email will be directed to whoever is trying to come up with a committee. And by the way, I know Mary mentioned if you want to be the organizer. No, if you want to help organize it, because sometimes people are intimidated by saying, I have to be the head honcho.
Yeah.
Now, if we need to get more than just one person. So you would be on a group of people.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that, Carol. Did anybody else want to bring up anything for future agenda items?
Councilmember
Kabir had, wait, Councilmember Kabir had something. Okay, come.
It's just voted on election, but.
Oh, whoa. Isn't it early for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in
9:31.
in the new budget, we have allocated some money for 3, I think, solar powered flashing stop signs.
Oh,
You know,
the flashing light.
yeah,
the-
you have seen them
Oh,
on
yeah,
Edgewood
yeah.
and
I've seen it in
51st
Laurel.
Avenue.
I saw it in
We
Laurel.
have one actually in Collegeville, the first one.
We do.
So if the association wants to decide where exactly want to do it.
Oh, where we want to have them? Is that
wanna
what you're
have it,
saying?
yeah.
Oh, now how many
Location.
do we have?
I
3?
believe at least 3, yeah.
3, okay. Put your thinking caps on, you guys. We have 3 stop signs
Okay.
that'll have the flashing lights there.
Mary, I have a suggestion that people, and it may not be able to make a decision tonight, but people go out to the city's website, look at the various crime, I think they call them, statistics, but they do list how many stop sign tickets they give or citations or warnings, and it may be able to identify a specific area. I know that Edgewood and 51st is always on there, but there might be others on that list.
Let me ask Councilmember Kabir a question. Now, those 3 stop signs, are they for anywhere in College Park?
In District 1.
Oh, in District 1. Good for, oh, not in District 4. You guys don't realize it probably, but I'm in District 4. Okay, that's okay. My council members will give me some stop signs as well. Okay, I don't feel bad. Okay, so you guys, it's now 9:33. I think it's time to end the meeting.
Mary, I had one quick comment to make.
Yes.
There's no public safety meetings in June, July, and August. We're
Oh,
taking the summer off.
Oh, okay. then-
Those are on the second Monday of the month, and since
Mhm.
crime and vandalism is one of our top priorities, I really encourage people to attend it. It is by Zoom, and we haven't been having that big of an attendance there. So
Okay.
if it is a high priority, please try to attend it. It's run by the city.
Okay, thank you for that, Carol. And that just reminds me to say before we take a vote to end this meeting is that generally in NCPCA takes a month off during the summer. Now, Arelis has suggested doing the picnic in August. If that were the case, then, we would probably take July off and not have a meeting. So anyway, whoever, will take the lead here and we'll know by tomorrow, I guess, or Saturday. Then we'll, that'll be a decision that'll have to probably go out to the body, but anyway. So can we have a motion to end the meeting, please?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, of course, that was Arelis. And who's going to second it? Stephanie, be quick.
I'll second it.
Okay, Elena seconded.
I want to get out of here.
Okay, so good try, Stephanie, but it was Elena. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No? Okay, so I say good night to all of you and thank you very much for participating tonight.
Oh, wait.